Hi, in this video we'll learn how to connect Grist with an external system. Let's say we have a CRM document. This is actually a template from our gallery template. It's very popular. It allows you to keep track of all your contacts, customers, and basically relations. And one of the flow that people are using with this document is to actually record every interactions they have with a customer. But of course this requires manual work to go to an email or just transcribe it somehow and put the interaction in this table. And today we will learn how to connect Grist to a Gmail account so that whenever we have some incoming email, Grist will automatically grab this email, summarize it using magic from OpenAI, and put the interaction record into the Grist. Let me show you first how it works. So this is very small version of the Lightper CRM. We have contacts table. Each contact has an email address. In this example, this is my email address, and an interactions table that is connected via a reference field with the contacts table. And what we want is to send an email and wait for this email to be processed and added here. And to do that, we'll use n8n. So here is the workflow that I created exactly for this use case. And if you are not familiar with the n8n platform or workflow, like in general, so a quick few words introduction. So n8n is a platform for building automations. It basically, each automation, like each workflow, is built upon from different nodes. So all those boxes are those nodes, and you connect them with arrows. You can think about arrows like pipes. So every node has an incoming, it's like input pipe and an output pipe. It gets some item. In this example, in this particular example, it gets a JSON data, transforms it or uses some external system to get some data and put some additional information inside this JSON, and then it puts it in the output pipe, so emits it to the second node. And as you can see, I have here a couple of nodes that are provided by n8n. I have 3 nodes that actually are connecting to my Gmail account and 2 that are connecting this workflow with Grist document. Those nodes are actually prepared by n8n and they allow you to and connect with Grist and read some data. So those are 4 operations that this node provides. It just allows you to create rows, delete, read, or update them. Okay, so let's execute this workflow and see how it works. So I have my inbox account that is currently empty. I have here a single node for just for debugging. When I press it, it will actually send me an email to my inbox. You can send test that it actually works. I received it. And you can actually check one more time that it works. Yes, so I should get another email. Okay, and now when I will execute this workflow, you will see actually how the data flows from this trigger through all this pipe, and it actually reaches the final node that actually adds the record to the interaction table. To make it more real, let's just clear this table and let's execute this workflow, but by using this button. As you can see, now we are in the block that summarizes this email, and we are and the workflow ends with the last node that actually adds the interaction table. Record to this interaction table. As you can see, it is there. Okay, So now I will go through each node in more detail, so just to let you know how to configure it properly. So now I will go through all the nodes and describe them in more detail. So each workflow must start with some kind of trigger. In this case, we have Gmail trigger. Let me double click it. So this is a trigger. Trigger that meaning that it will monitor some external system and will output, like put some data on its output pipe if some event has occurred in this external system. So in this example, this node will basically monitor every minute our Gmail account and see if there are any new emails. We are optionally can filter by some metadata that is on the email, and this is in this example we are filtering by labels, so we want only emails that are in the inbox and they haven't been read. So we can test actually every node actually can be tested, so tested meaning that we can execute it. And here when you press this button, this node will basically will not wait, but will, for the debugging purposes, will just go to the Gmail account and grab the latest email. Of course, now we don't have any email, but we can use this debugging node that is not connected to our email. As you can see, it is not a trigger and it doesn't have any input. So when I press this button, I should have now an email, and when I now execute this node, so by pressing run this event, it's actually called fetch test event because it won't pull, it will just grab it. You can see that it downloaded the test email that I just sent. So this is a trigger node. It doesn't have any input. The input in this case is just a schedule that for every minute it just checks the Gmail account, but it has one output. Now we are splitting this workflow, so we are putting this email into two pipes. First is to extract some data and prepare it for further processing, and second is to the another node that Gmail offers and that n8n offers for Gmail is to mark this message as read, so that when we invoke this workflow, or it will be invoked a second time, that we don't read the same message twice. So this is basically a very easy node. It just uses my Gmail account credentials. And there is an operation. Actually, there are many operations, and one of them is mark read, and we just need to pass the identifier of the message here. And while we are here, in order to actually connect to your Gmail, you need to create your credentials. So you just need to press this button and then sign in with Google. And then after giving consent and allowing actually n8n to connect to your Gmail account, this node will be configured, and you can then share even your workflow, because Gmail credentials are stored on your account, not in the workflow itself. Okay, and as every node we can execute it and see what will happen. When you actually executing the node, you are executing a workflow from beginning to till it reaches this one node. So if I will execute it, it will actually grab the email once again and then mark it as read. To not invoke this node many times, n8n has a very nice trick which is called pinning data. So you can actually pin the output of a node. So when I press this button, you can see that this is visually different. It has this pin icon at the bottom, and it means that the output of this node is pinned. So you can think of it that in such a way that the node is actually replaced with the data it would produce. So this way, when I'm executing this node, it will try to grab the output of the previous node, but the output is already there, so it won't execute this node many times. So when I just press this button, I'm just now marking this email as read. And now this node is actually a very simple one that I like to add in my workflows. It actually used for clearing the data. As you can see, the payload, the Gmail API, is returning email in JSON format that is like has all these nested things. All these nested things basically, and it's not that easy to read. So in order to help me process it later on, I'm just modifying one JSON format to another. So we can also execute this node. And as you can see, I'm just taking this node and producing this nice looking format. One thing to remember, that the email, when someone sends you an email, the email format can be like regular email, but can also have a prefix of the name of the person. So you need to use a little regex magic in order to just extract the raw email, if you want that, of course. And we will need it because we need to fetch the contact from Grist table. So this is very simple regex that actually every AI agent can, or chat can do it for you. Even the agent that is in n8n hosted platform is able to do it. Okay, so this node just produces us nice looking and very nice to work with JSON, and then we will push this JSON through two pipes simultaneously. The upper node is a get Grist actually node that will just fetch some record from some table. In this example, we'll just we want basically this record to be fetched in order to get the ID of the contact so that we can properly fill out the record that the interactions table requires. So I'm using basically the get many rows operation from this node. I'm passing document ID. Document ID can be get from the document settings page. Here is a dedicated section. You just need to press copy button here and paste the document ID here. Then you need to specify the contact ID. Actually, we can do it right now so that you can see how it works in action. So you just get the table ID. Actually, you can get the contact ID or the table ID also from raw data. Here it is. So it is probably exactly the same as the name of the table, but if the name of the table has white spaces, then it will probably be different. So to make sure that you don't accidentally to make sure that you have actually the correct name, you can use the raw data view. Okay, so you are copying and pasting this, and now you need to, of course, filter it by one of the columns. So when you add the filter, it will automatically go into the Grist document and will fetch all the emails, all the column names off from this table. So here we'll just want to filter by email, and we need to drag from the previous node the data from the JSON that it produces. So this is just simple drag and drop. And n8n will automatically put this as an expression. So every value in n8n can be either fixed expression with this. So this is basically a fixed expression. In this case, this is just a text, or an expression. So everything in these double curly braces is a JSON expression and n8n has very nice auto completion feature that you can actually use in order to build those expressions. And it even shows you what is the value of the last item that was pushed through this pipeline. So if we execute it, as you can see, it just went to Grist and it downloaded this record. Of course, we assume that there is only one record and that contacts table has an we don't repeat contacts don't have contacts with the same email. Otherwise, we will need to remove duplicates because it will return multiple items, and that it will also emit multiple items from this node, and it will result that we'll add multiple contacts interactions row in the end. Now, when we have this contact, we just need to summarize the email. And to summarize the email, we of course need to add some of the AI blocks that n8n offers. So as you can see, there are a lot of them. One of them is actually called summarize chain, which is actually what I did here. You are just dragging and dropping it here. Then you need to connect it with one of the models. So it doesn't need to be an OpenAI model, it can be any kind of, but of course the OpenAI is the most common one. And let me show you how it is configured. So you can, of course, if you are using a hosted n8n solution, you have some free allowance to use OpenAI, and you can actually subscribe to have more, or you can, of course, connect, put your own API key here. And to create this your own API key, you just press new credentials. Those credentials will be stored in your profile, not in the workflow. And you need now just to paste your API key to your OpenAI account and organization ID if you happen to be a part of one. So in this case, I already have my personal account here. I'm using the first model from the list, so for summarizing text it doesn't matter that much which one, so which one is which one you want and you are most familiar with. GPT-5 mini is pretty fast. And we can actually execute this workflow because we have some item on the pipeline and this item is pinned, so it will basically get the data from this trigger and get the output from this node, so it won't actually grab the data, do some manipulation, and it will put this data as the input of this node. So when we execute it, we need to wait a bit to just summarize the email, and we have the output here. It actually gets the whole JSON and just summarize it in just one output, which is called text. That's why we actually even are cleaning the data previously, so not to have too much data being sent to the OpenAI. Now, once we have this, we are just merging those two nodes pipes together to have a single record. You can execute this one. So this is just a very simple pipe operator in n8n that just combines two items together. So it adds to the content of the row the output of the summarization. And now we are again transforming this data to have something that can be used with Grist API. So I'm basically just dragging and dropping elements from the item. And of course I need to change the date because Grist expects milliseconds, not nanoseconds, or seconds, not milliseconds. So you need to, and the timestamp of the email is in milliseconds, so you need to just divide it by 1000. And then you just need to execute. And this is the last bit, it is just creating row. And you can even you can of course map manually or use automap. So that's why I actually cleaned the data, not only to use it for summarization, but also to use the automap features that many nodes actually have. So if your items that is going through the pipes looks like has some common things that each node will expect, then it's much easier to configure them later. And that's all. So this is how this workflow works. So to recap, we are just monitoring our Gmail account every minute. When we see some new email in the inbox that is not read, we'll just mark it as read, extract some data on it just to have it a little bit clean up. Then we get the ID of the contact by the email, summarize the email, merge it, and then push it to the Grist. And that's all. Of course, we can extend this workflow by actually not creating the interaction if the contact is not there. So adding some conditional logic there when this node doesn't return us anything or returns an empty item, just end the workflow right here and don't go further. Okay, so this is it. Thank you for watching.